Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Krashy, and today we're going to be diving into the question of, well, really questions of, is DC Dual Force the Marvel Snap killer? Is this, DC's version of Marvel Snap, etc., etc.? We're going to be diving into the comparison of Marvel Snap versus DC Dual Force, what I like, what's different, etc., etc. So let's go ahead and dive in. But actually, before you do so, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the DC Dual Force channel here for me for future Dual Force content. All right, let's get into it. So first and foremost, got to address the elephant in the room like I did in a recent video and say that this game is nothing like Marvel Snap, or Marvel Snap is nothing like DC Dual Force. Really, the only thing they have in common is that they are comic book focused and they happen to be card games. So realistically speaking, I think that Marvel Snap is just such a very different and unique kind of digital card game from what we're used to seeing. And I gotta be honest, I'm not the most experienced card game player in the world. I have played a very little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! I played a very little bit of Magic the Gathering, and then I used to play a lot of Hearthstone. And that's pretty much it. I dabbled in Runeterra for like a week, but it just didn't really stick with me. I don't think I was into card games at the time. And then same thing with Snap. When Snap came out, I was pretty into it, but I didn't like dive into it, and only recently have I been playing it again, and really enjoying the game. I think Marvel Snap is a phenomenal title. So what are the pros and cons? What are the comparisons? Let's go ahead and dive into that. So Marvel Snap is the digital card game formula completely reworked to find and fill its own niche, right? Marvel Snap is 6 turns, you have a 12 card deck. It's very fast, very unique. You play your turns like simultaneously with like one person kind of leading who plays the card first, but more or less you're playing exactly at the same time with a whole host of randomness and wonkiness and crazy things that makes for some really cool interactions and some not so fun interactions. So Marvel Snap has the locations, and I think that it's a really cool design, but I also think that there's a lot of room for just crazy randomness, and it gets a little annoying at times. Now that is the Snap formula, right? They have just completely taken this whole concept of digital card games and they've smushed it down, and now I see a lot of success in that. I see a lot of success in that because there is always going to be a whole host of players and gamers in the world that are looking for a certain type of experience, but they want it condensed down to a shorter time investment than some other games are able or willing to offer. Now, DC Dual Force is not that. DC Dual Force is going to be 15 to 20 minute long games. Sometimes they're going to be much more nuanced. There's going to be a lot more going on that you need to be aware of. And ultimately, there's way more cards in terms of deck building. Now, DC Dual Force features a dual leader system where you have to pick what 2 leaders you want on your field and in your deck, or, for your deck, and that decides what cards you're playing. So with DC Dual Force, you can have, say, Batman, who is a tactics leader, and he's a blue card or a blue leader, and you could have Superman, who is a might leader, who is the red cards, and this is going to split your deck, of which you have 40 total cards with 20 blue and 20 red. Now, if you were to play a monocolored deck, meaning like full blue, you just played like Batman and Cyborg, you would have 40 blue cards, and you have to follow that model. So for whatever color leader you have to have 20 cards. It's the 20 same cards, or colored faction cards. It's the best way of thinking about it, right? So if you're a orange and red deck, you need 20 orange or 20 red. If you're, orange, then you need 40 orange, and that's how you're gonna build your deck. Now, there is like, I wanna say 500 cards in this game or so, and there is a ton of cards to pick from. Now in Marvel Snap, there are a lot of cards, but you only have the 6 card deck, so it's much more about building a nice curve, or a nice strategy with certain types of mana curves, and really going from that. And I say mana in Marvel Snap, it's called energy. In DC Dual Force, it's like rarity. I don't even know what it's called exactly, but you have bronze, silver, gold as your resource to use per turn, and that same thing is kind of relevant where you kind of have like a curve that you can play off of each turn. So you'll have like your first turn, you'll have 1 energy in Snap. Your second turn, you'll have 2 energy, unless that changes. In DC Dual Force, you have 1 bronze. Your second turn, you have 2 bronze, unless that changes. And there are ways to generate more energy, spawn more energy, earn more energy in Snap. There are more ways to generate more resources in DC Dual Force. So again, I think the biggest difference between the games is just that DC Dual Force has a lot more nuance. You have the resource of your bronze, your silver, your gold cards that you have to play per turn. you also have your leader resources. Your leaders are going to gain a resource per turn, and also there's other ways to influence that with different cards as well. But this is a dual resource game. So you have, you know, Batman has 2 charge, and so at the uptick of each turn, he's going to gain 1 charge. And once he hits 2 charge, you can activate his charge ability, which allows him to have 3 damage and spawn a gadget, and that's just one of the leaders. So the way that you build your deck is not only going to influence what colored cards you can have in your deck, but how you are actually playing the game because of your leader ability. Now with Marvel Snap, again, there's not nearly as much nuance. It's much more simple. You have, you know, 12 cards that kind of synergize with each other, or maybe they are synergizing with the hot location for the time, or maybe they are kind of counter meta, anti-destroy decks or anti-move decks. You know, maybe you're playing something on reveal, or you're playing like, you know, a spider or move deck, you know, all of these different things. I'm not actually a very high level player in Snap, so I can't really speak to the like high tier of ladder. And when it comes to DC Dual Force, there is no ranked ladder out yet because the game's not even out yet, so can't really compare there. But let's talk a little bit about progression. So with Marvel Snap, the progression is very interesting. You know, you have to kind of just grind and grind and grind, or you can spend money and, you know, increase your collection level to try to unlock things. There's not much control in Marvel Snap when it comes to card acquisition and, you know, unlocks, and you kind of just play the game and or pay on the game and, you know, see what comes your way. Now when it comes to DC Dual Force, they are going much more traditional TCG with card packs. You're going to be able to spend money and purchase card packs and RNG roll essentially for the cards that you want. Now we do have confirmation via one of their blog posts that there will be a crafting system. And so, you know, I always try to take, if you're an older person like me, I mean, I'm sure younger people will still maybe understand this, but this was more the bread and butter for gaming for us. If you're a slightly older person like me, you would take your video games to GameStop and you would trade them in, and you would get like, you know, negative value for the game because they're not trying to give you full price for the game that you're selling back. It's going to be like that when it comes to the crafting system, right? Like you're going to have a card and you're going to get like 1/10 of the value back if you decide to destroy that card and turn it into crafting materials. So, you know, keep in mind that that's a little bit how dusting works in Hearthstone. And that's just how this kind of a system is going to work in a card game. Now, as far as the card packs goes, you got to be a little skeptical with this too, because obviously they're trying to make money. You're RNG rolling these card packs to unlock the cards that you want, and essentially it's going to be you know, a lot of monetization. Now there is going to be you know, like how Snap has their battle pass and you grind through it, which I actually love the battle passes in Snap. It doesn't look like DC Dual Force is going to have a battle pass. At least they haven't shown off one, but they're going to have a monthly membership. You'll be able to spend $10. You'll be able to unlock the membership, and this is going to come with card packs, exclusive promo cards, PvE content, and daily rewards. So there's going to be some kind of a return on value for like that $10 that you can spend. And, you know, the same is to be said for Snap, just in a different way. One's kind of a monthly benefit that you just kind of get, and then you can earn some of that value by logging in daily. And Snap is like you have to earn that value based on playing the game and kind of grinding through that battle pass. So ultimately, as I'm getting through this video, I just want to say that the two games are just so incredibly different. Marvel Snap is that short form, you know, you play really quickly, boom, 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 rapid fire, crazy randomness. And DC Dual Force is not that. You know, you have the methodical, you have the theory crafting and the deep necessity for, you know, nuanced deck building and, you know, building your strategy based on your leaders and really, you know, kind of slowing things down a little bit and taking your time and understanding the game. So DC Dual Force, I think, is going to be a much like higher skill game than Marvel Snap. Not to say that Marvel Snap is not high skilled. I've never even made it to Infinite, but I do think that with the nuance and with how many cards and with the way that the game is built, it's going to be a bit more of a skillful game. So for some of y'all that maybe just got into digital card games with Marvel Snap, it is going to be a huge learning curve, as any new game would be a huge learning curve, because you have to learn all the content. So tons of cards, tons of potential, and tons to learn. But here's the thing, to answer that one big question, is DC Dual Force going to kill Marvel Snap? No, I don't think so. I don't think DC Dual Force has the ability to kill Marvel Snap. Now, whether or not Marvel Snap is doing well on its own, that's up for, you know, Marvel Snap and the developers to continue to push their project. But the games are so incredibly different. They're barely even in the same genre, truthfully. So No, I think if you're a Snap lover, that's great, and you have a great game there, and I'm going to keep playing Snap. And I think if you love, more nuanced, more in-depth card games, and even if you're a DC fan, then DC Dual Force is going to be awesome for you. I love DC Comics more than Marvel, but I also love Marvel Comics. So both of these games, it's almost like the best of both worlds for me. I don't really see the need to compare them and wonder which one is better, because they're both going to be good games in my opinion, and they're both bringing a different perspective and a different experience to the digital card game. So friends, drop a like on this video, subscribe to the DC Dual Force channel here for future Dual Force content. I would definitely appreciate it. As always, be sure to be kind of well there, tell someone you love them, and I'll see you in the next video.